Cook?
I guess just the timing thing. Obviously, we don't know when we're going to get sewers there, but how long is the whole thing good for? And is this like a temporary?
If I can just click, because it's a bit of chicken and the egg process. In order for us to permit the Forest Co-op to have a holding tank, we first of all have to have a scheme that is on the radar, per se, whether it's servicing the park or another scheme, a local improvement up Rawlings Road, that's on the target. So really the motion that, or the request in this report is really to ask Council's permission to add the servicing of the industrial park, put it on the 10-year capital forecast. Following out of that will be a trigger subject to Council's consent to that. We'll come forward at a subsequent meeting with a temporary, an agreement for a temporary holding tank for the co-op.
So I'll change my motion to state, or I'll amend my motion to say that we will put the servicing of the industrial park on the 10-year capital plan, and that will grant the co-op permission to install a holding tank for a short period of time. And the staff will come back to us with a question.
I agree for that second. Okay. Councilor Owen?
Just a couple of comments. This is a review round.
Yeah, this is a summer use.
And yes, and then the footprint doesn't allow a meaningful subject.
Just to further clarify, there are two industrial park portions of the industrial park west and industrial park east. Servicing is throughout the industrial park on the west, so it's right at the end of Enterprise Drive. So we've always, rather than undertake the expenditure at this point in time to service the park across, it'd be a matter of keep the fingers crossed of boring under Highway 21 to extend the service and so on.
It's close, it's just not there. Councilor Monson?
Now, the only question I had for you to, I guess for the plan, is we're not in violation of any Lambton County requirements around provincial policy statements about sending effluent or into a holding tank. We cleared that. This is okay.
I think what John's saying to you is this is the only way to allow the holding tanks for council to have the project in their 10-year forecast. If it's in your 10-year forecast, you're planning for it so we can have a holding tank.
And this isn't when anytime someone's 3 or 4 someone saying, well, you have a holding tank, you just approved it.
Temporary situation.
As long as it's stated as an exigency matter, then I just don't want it to be thrown back saying, well, wait a minute, you put a holding tank and you know.
Am I allowed to speak to that? Sure. No, I haven't spoken to you. Second. Yeah, second. Fact of the matter is, yes, it's going to be on a long-term planning for sewers, so we are planning eventually of having that part of the industrial park under service. And we have stated numerous occasions through council to the public that we have no plans to be putting sewers in the
The only thing I would add, if it's on the forecast, it helps us when a lot of times there's incentive programs or grants announced for a project such as this, and servicing industrial park, which has an economic driver. But it helps from that standpoint as well. It's critical in financing.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. 6.12. This is the planning report 37. Special plan amendment. Sounds in line. Recommendation here, Councilor Coleman. Move the recommendation, Councilor Bonstein. Questions? Discussion? All in favor? Thank you. We'll do the bylaws later. 6.12, the zone amendment. That's all part of the bylaws. 6.13, report number 38. This is dealing with the rice development. This is for the part condition 12. Would John like to speak to this? I would like you to explain this, and then we'll get a motion, because it's just for council, correct? Unless you have a
brought forward a report on the Rice subdivision. And one of the outstanding issues there was the upgrading of Main Street East in compliance with the traffic study. And I said to council at the time that I was exploring options on how we can finance the project. So the report in front of you now identifies that Main Street East upgrades were identified as a development charge related service. Okay, 50% development charges, 50% to existing development. So the upgrade is from the rural cross section that we have to an urban cross section. So that's curbs, gutters, all of that. That is the development charge funded portion, which development charges will pay 50% of, and we as a municipality are on the hook for the other 50% because it serves existing development. Okay. On top of that, we are responsible for the bike pass, because that is an above and beyond our normal road standard. So we cannot put that into development charges because it's not our norm. And development charges is based on the municipality's normal road structure. Finally, the turning lane, the center turning lane, is related to the development of the lands. So the subdividers are responsible for paying for the center turning lane. So I had the subdividers consultant split the costs up based on that philosophy, on that approach. Okay, and you can see that the municipality's share is $274,400. Now our share is comprised of partial development charge funding, partial coming from our budget for roads, and then the bicycle pass would be from our budget for roads, because it's not. The developer at Rice would be $85,800, and then the lands on the south side of Main Street East would be $51,600. So that's their share of the turning lanes. So I'm asking council to endorse that strategy for Main Street East. Rice Group on top of that is asking council to pick up the cost for the turning lanes for the lands on the south side, so that they don't have to carry that cost. And we would attempt to collect that from the developer when he came forward on the south side of the street.
And this may have a couple-year time frame, so it would be,
I would like to say it's gonna happen tomorrow, but realistically, you can see that the upgrading of Main Street East hinges on the commercial block developing or the whole other half of the lands developing. So as long as Rice stays with the residential component of the first phase that you basically finally approved 2 weeks ago, we're okay. As soon as they move to that commercial block, then the upgrades are necessary. So what I would suggest to council that the part that we're responsible for in our budget should probably go to budget discussions for 2012. At least let's get it on the radar. If it doesn't happen in 2012, then we can push it off to 2013, but we should be ready. We don't want development not to occur.
Councilor Owen?
I believe we endorse the strategy.
Best, Deputy Mayor Day?
Yeah, could you just help me with the math, Patty, because it looked like the cost of that improvement was $411,000, not including the developments for access to the south, but we would be paying $274,000, which is quite a bit more than 50%.
Well, it is more than 50% because there's no 50% about it. Our cost, when we look at our costs, it comes partially from development charges and partially from our own budget. Development charges, the way it was set up at the time, development charges was going to pay for 50% of our cost out of the development charges account. Our budget would pay for the other 50%. So our 274 will be split between current roads budget or projected roads budget and DC. Now, it'll probably be 60-40 because we've got the bicycle turning lanes in there that can't be funded by DC. So the project's not split 50-50. That's how we're going to fund it.
Okay.
Councilor Scott?
And some of that money would come from the opposite side of the road. Once a development would go in there, we would be able to
We would endeavor to
some of it
collect that
along with
from
the
them, yes.
development. And would we at the same time be